Gentlemen, welcome to the St. Tammany Parish Planning Commission meeting of March the 8th. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Seeger.
Here.
Truxillo. Ress.
Here.
McInnes. Doherty.
Here.
Fitzmaurice.
Here.
Crawford.
Here.
Troncoso.
Here.
Smale.
Here.
Hernandez.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Public announcements, please silence all phones and electronic devices. Appeals, if you wish to appeal a decision this commission makes, the appeal forms are over on the railing to my right. Speaker cards, if you wish to speak either for or against on an item, you must fill out a speaker card and mark it that you wish to speak or not, and turn it in to staff and they'll get it up here to me. Public speaking, 10 minutes each side and 5 minutes for rebuttal. After your case is heard, you're welcome to leave the building. Invocation, Tom Seeger, and for the pledge, Patrick Fitzmaurice, please rise.
Before we begin, let us invoke the blessings of Almighty God. Heavenly Father, we thank you for life itself and for the blessing of being residents of St. Tammany Parish. We sincerely desire to make our little part of heaven on earth a better place by our being here and serving the public in a truthful and upright manner, guided as always by your wisdom and knowledge. Thanks be to you for the citizens, employees, elected and appointed officials of our parish. May your blessing rest upon us all as we strive to do your will and serve the best interest of our community in a fair and honest way, walking uprightly all the way. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, commission members, in your packet you had the minutes for the February 14th meeting. Hopefully you've had an opportunity to review them. Commissioner Fitzmaurice.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Fitzmaurice. Commissioner Crawford.
Second the motion.
Second by Commissioner Crawford. Please vote.
The motion to approve carries.
Thank you. Ready for some postponements?
Certainly. Number 1 on the agenda, request to enter the parish right-of-way for the entrance of the proposed Vieux Carré subdivision, Bootlegger Road. There's a request to postpone the case for 1 month.
Okay, let me read that one in there. It's a request to enter the parish right-of-way for the entrance of the proposed Vieux Carré subdivision on Bootlegger Road. The developer owner is Allstate Financial Company. Engineer surveyor is Kelly McHugh and Associates. Parish Council District Representative, Honorable Marty Dean. General location, the property is located on the south and west sides of Bricker Road, north of Louisiana Highway 21, north of Interstate 12, south of Covington, Ward 1, District 1. Commissioner Fitzmaurice.
Motion to postpone for 1 month.
Motion by Commissioner Fitzmaurice to postpone at the developer's request for 1 month. Commissioner Crawford.
Second that motion.
Second by Commissioner Crawford. Please vote.
The motion to postpone for 1 month carries.
Thank you.
Item number 3 on the agenda, 2023-3228 MSP. We have a request to postpone until the month of May, and Mr. Vincent Nguyen is here to answer any questions you may have. Item number 3.
Yeah, that's, I'm just marking it up right now. Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, Vincent Wynn on behalf of the Browns Village project. We're diligently working, trying to get some traffic studies done as the parish and the state has requested, and have actually retained J.B. Burke to do that. There is an ancillary project that has actually now come online. It looks like it's going to be a go, and I've been working with the parish as well. So it's going to end up being it's one big, large parcel that we're trying to break up and to put into different parcels, but there's an additional parcel, again, contiguous, that is probably going to come in line, and so we're having to loop that in to everything else we're doing. So we're asking for some more time in order to do that and to make sure that our traffic studies encompass any potential traffic problems relative to this additional, it's a manufacturing facility that we're trying to put in there.
Okay, all right. Thank you. And let me read it into the record, and we'll go from there. This is case minor subdivision review 2023-3228-MSP. It's a minor subdivision of parcel BV1 and out parcel 1.083 acres into parcels BV1A and BV1B, BV1C, and BV1D. Owner representatives, Browns Village Plaza LLC, Felicity Center LLC. Surveyor is Kelly McHugh and Associates. Parish Council District Representative, Honorable Ron Randolph. General location, the property is located on the north and northwest corner of US Highway 11 and Browns Village Road, Slidell, Ward 8, District 14. This was postponed at the February 14th meeting, and you're requesting that this be postponed until the May meeting. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. All right. Commissioner Crawford.
I'll make a motion to postpone until May.
Okay. Commissioner Seeger.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Seeger. Please vote.
The motion to postpone till May carries.
Thank you very much.
Item number 10 on page 3, 2022-2903 PP, request to postpone.
Okay. This is case 2022-2903 PP. It's Maison du Village subdivision. Developer owner is Mid-South Developers LLC. Engineer is J.V. Burks and Associates Incorporated. Parish Council District Representative, Honorable Arthur Laughlin. General location, the property is located west of Louisiana Highway 433, south of US Highway 190, and Slidell, Ward 9 and District 11. This has had a number of postponements on it, and is, Mr. Barone, is this going to be 1 month, 2 months, 3 months?
We would ask for 1 month, but we would ask the chair if you would consider establishing a community meeting. We've been in contact with some of the residents. They have requested a community meeting. We've been in contact with Councilman Laughlin. He's in support of a community meeting. We would support a community meeting. So we'd like the opportunity, if you're so inclined, to have an opportunity to meet here in these chambers with some of the residents so that we can go through and discuss the project, their concerns, and get some of the facts out there before we come before you next month.
Okay, all right. Let's see, the tentative date for the community meeting would be March the 30th. Okay, so that would be just ahead of the, 2 weeks ahead of the planning meeting.
Okay.
Let me, yeah, we'll get that set, and I'll get, we can have 5 members on, from the commission attend,
Okay.
okay? But beyond that, I can't attend.
And I'll inform the residents that I've been talking to. They knew that we were making this request, and I will get back to them with the proposed date. I assume that will be at 6 p.m. on the
Yes.
30th?
Yes, it will.
And obviously, I'll let Councilman Laughlin know as well.
Okay, all right.
So will this be sufficient time to make any changes if necessary before April 11th?
I believe so. I'm looking at my engineer on the project, but I believe that'll give us 2 weeks coming out of that meeting, which should give us more than enough time to make any changes that we might need to make.
Because, I mean, it's 2 weeks calendar-wise, but to submit the staffing, to give us enough time to do the staff reports and everything.
Right. And we'll be working with staff on their existing comments between now and that time, so that we hopefully have that whittled down.
Thank you.
And so if there are any changes, it would just be those that come out of that meeting.
Great, okay.
Anything else, Ellen?
No.
Okay, all right. Let's see, any of the commissioners wish to participate? I can have 4 in addition to myself.
I'd like to be there.
Smale?
I'd attend, but I'm not sure I'm going to be in town that day. I don't know
Okay.
right now.
Carlo?
Yes.
Neil?
So we got at least 3, okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I think I can make it.
Okay. Two, three, four. That gets us complete. So, all right, Commissioner Crawford.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to postpone. Just want to, Paul, the 1 month, you pretty set on that? Because we get our packets a week ahead of time or sometimes more. Just want to make sure we have enough time to go around the block on this.
We've talked about that and talked with our client, and we feel like that will give us enough time, because again, we have some comments now that we've got to work through. We are confident we'll be able to have those resolved by the time we have this meeting. And if there are any changes that come out of that meeting, we think we can turn those around very quickly.
Okay, and Sean agrees. I see him shaking his head there. Okay, all right, we'll postpone for 1 month. Motion to postpone for 1 month.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Crawford to postpone for 1 month. Commissioner Troncoso.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Troncoso. Please vote.
The motion to postpone for 1 month carries.
Number 11 on the agenda, on page 3, 2022, 31 and 93 PP, request to postpone for 1 month.
Okay. Now, this is case 2022-3193 PP. It's item 11, Jubilee RV and Camping Park, Phase 1 through 3. Developer owners Jubilee RV LLC. Engineer surveyor J.V. Burks and Associates Incorporated. Parish Council District Representative Honorable Jake Airy. General location, the property is located on the southwest side of U.S. Highway 190, south of Indian Village Road, Slidell, Ward 8, District 13. This was postponed at the January 10th and 14th meetings for 1 month, and we're going to, at the developer's request, postpone this for 1 month. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You have any other
Mr.
comments?
Chair, yes, sir. Jeff Shane, Jones Fussell Law Firm, representing the owner and developer. My engineer, Mr. Burks, is with me this evening, and we both feel that we'll be ready to go with preliminary next month. So we
Okay.
respectfully request a 1 month postponement.
All right. Commissioner Crawford.
Motion to postpone for 1 month.
Motion by Commissioner Crawford to postpone for 1 month. Commissioner Seeger.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Seeger. Please vote.
The motion to postpone for 1 month carries.
Number 12 on the agenda, 2023, 3248 PP, request to postpone for 1 month.
Okay. This is case 2023-3248 PP. It's item 12. Vucare subdivision, developer owners, Allstate Financial Company, engineer and surveyors Kelly McHugh and Associates Incorporated. Parish Council District Representative Honorable Marty Dean. General location, the property is located on the south and west sides of Bricker Road, east of Louisiana Highway 1085, north of Louisiana Highway 21, Ward 1, District 1. Mr. Morone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the commission, Paul Marone on behalf of Allstate Financial Company. We are working through a few remaining comments on the hydrology study and some other reports. Talked to my client and Mr. McHugh today. We think we'll have all of those items addressed within the next week or so 30 days should be more than enough to allow us to come back before you next month with hopefully a very clean report on Vucare.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Commissioner Crawford.
Looks like next month's gonna be a little busy. I think we'll pack a lunch or something when we come, but make a motion to postpone for 1 month.
All right, Commissioner Fitzmaurice.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Fitzmaurice. Please vote.
The motion to postpone for 1 month carries.
Thank you.
And under final approval, finally, number 13, request to postpone for 1 month, 2023, 3249 FP.
Okay. This is Oaklawn Trace subdivision, Phase 2, developer owner, J-Mac Development LLC, engineer surveyors Kelly McHugh and Associates Incorporated, Parish Council District Representative Honorable Arthur Laughlin. General location, the property is located on the south side of US Highway 190, east of Transmitter Road, west of South Tranquility Road, Lacombe, Ward 7, District 11. Mr. Shane.
Mr. Chair, Honorable Commission, Jeff Shane of the Jones Fussell Law Firm representing the owner and petitioner. We're simply not ready to bring final before you this evening. The checklist we have still requires some work. We do think we can be ready for April. We know we're going to need to pack supper when we come back in April. We understand that. But I do think we think we'll be ready to go. So if you could, we would respectfully request that you consider postponement to your April meeting.
Okay, all right. Commissioner Crawford.
Okay, motion to postpone for 1 month.
All right. Motion by Commissioner Crawford to postpone for 1 month. Commissioner Fitzmaurice.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Fitzmaurice. Please vote.
The motion to postpone for 1 month carries.
Anything else, Helen?
No other request.
All right. That shortened our agenda considerably. All right, we will go back to the front of the agenda and we'll start with item 2. This is under entering the parish right-of-way, servitudes, easements, and Tammany Trace. Request to enter the parish right-of-way for the entrance of Abita Lakes Estates subdivision to install lighting on the fence, Clear Lake Boulevard. Developer owners, Abita Lakes Property Association, Parish Council District Representatives, Honorable Cheryl Tanner. General location, the property is located east of Louisiana Highway 59, south of Low Davis Road, and north of Abita Springs, Ward 10, District 6. Staff?
Yes, sir. First, I want to bring to your attention that item number 2 on the agenda does actually have a typo. It was brought to staff's attention that Clear Lake Boulevard should actually say Grand Lakes Boulevard, which would conform to the resolution in front of you guys today, as well with the advertisement we produced. Additionally, the developer is requesting to enter the parish right-of-way for the purpose of installing entrance lighting at the entrance of the subdivision. Staff has reviewed this request and has no additional comments at this time. Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone here representing? All right, I see no one representing, so we can move forward. Commissioner, we'll close it to the public and bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Rest.
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Rest to approve. Commissioner Crawford.
Second motion.
Second by Commissioner Crawford. I was going to ask whoever was going to represent, but since there's no one here, Ted, I don't know if their intent was to put some kind of photo controls on these lights, but I can tell you that it works real well to have them come on at dusk and off at daylight. You might mention that to them in your conversation. Thank you.
Yeah, that's.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve. Please vote.
The motion to approve carries.
Thank you. All right, item 4, case is 2023-3246-MSP, minor subdivision of 1 acre and 1.07 acres into lots A and B. Owner and representative is Troy L. and Ina B. Bound. Surveyor is J.V. Burks and Associates. Parish Council District Representative, Honorable Ronald Randolph. Parish, general location, the property is located on the west side of James Crosby Road, west of Louisiana Highway 41, Pearl River, Ward 8, District 14. Staff?
The applicant is requesting to create 2 lots from a 1 acre parcel and a 1.07 acre parcel. The minor subdivision request public hearing due to Lot A does not meet the minimum lot size of 1 acre required under Section 125.188 of the minor subdivision ordinance and requiring a waiver from the Planning Commission. And the request shall be subject to adding the signature line for the chairman of the Planning Commission on the survey.
Good evening, sir. And you are? Your name and address?
Name is Troy Bounds, 38478 James Crosby Road, Pearl River, Louisiana.
Okay. And you have anything you'd like to tell the commission?
Well, what I'm here.
Come a little bit closer to the mic.
I have a daughter. She was living in Texas and it's got a little too expensive, so she moved back out here. She wants to build a house. So I have a little over 2 acres. And I was trying to give her a parcel to build a house.
Okay. That sounds like a good deal. I know she would appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Anyone in the audience in favor of this that wishes to speak? Anyone wish to speak against? I'm going to close it to the public and bring it back to the commission. Commissioner McInnes.
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner McInnes to approve. Commissioner Fitzmaurice.
I'm going to second, and it looks like from the map that there are some parcels in that area that are maybe even smaller than half an acre, so I'll second the motion.
Okay, Commissioner Smale.
I'm just wondering if staff can tell me, if this is an A4 zone, why would the lot size be 1 acre minimum?
The minor subdivision ordinance requires that the minimum lot size be 1 acre. This is also, if I'm not mistaken, state law. And so that's the reason for the request.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would agree. For the minor subdivision application, it requires 1 acre, but that is waivable by the commission.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, there are smaller lots in the neighborhood, and it is an A4 zone, so yes. Thank you.
Okay. All right. We have a motion and a second to approve. Pardon? Yeah. Did the motion include the waiver?
We can include it now.
Okay. All right, thank you. We have a motion and a second to include this with the waivers. Please vote.
The motion to approve with the waiver carries.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, go to item 5. Case is 2023-3247, 3251-MSP. It's a minor subdivision of 13.78 acres, parcel into A and B. Owner and representative is Joseph S. Rawls Jr., Benjamin H. Rawls II, Stephen B. Rawls, Thomas W. Rawls, James Clifton Burns Rawls, John P. Rawls, and Mary Rawls McCann. The surveyor is Land Surveying LLC. Parish Council District Representative, Honorable Martha Casabon. General location, the property is located on the north side of Lake Ramsey Road, east of Bullock Road, west of Louisiana Highway 25, Covington, Ward 3, District 3. Staff?
The applicant is requesting to create two parcels from 13.78 acres. The minor subdivision request requires public hearing due to parcel A is requested to be created as a flag lot, requiring a waiver of the regulation by the Planning Commission since flag lots are only permitted above the urban growth boundary line.
Thank you. Good evening, sir, and you are?
Good evening, Thomas Rawls, one of the owners and representative.
Okay. And what would you like to tell the commission?
Well, we're requesting to divide this property in two parcels, A and B, as per survey.
Okay, all right. All right, anything else?
And not unless you have some questions.
Well, we'll see if we
Okay.
got it in here in just a minute.
Okay.
Anyone in the audience wish to speak in favor on this item? Anyone wish to speak against? I'll close it to the public and bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Fitzmaurice.
I just have a question for staff. If the 51-foot lane that goes to the back, what's the, I guess, parameters, a definition for a flag lot? If that was 100 feet, would it not be considered a flag lot? If it was 200 feet?
The property is zoned A2 suburban, so the minimum lot width is 150 feet.
I got you.
And the flag lot, to create a flag lot, the flag or the pole itself, it would say it's between 30 and 60 feet.
Okay. I see several over in the area. I was just curious about that. I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Fitzmaurice to approve. Commissioner Ress.
Second with the waiver.
Second by Commissioner Ress with the waivers. Commissioner McInnes.
I just want to comment that there's, under the New Directions 2040, there's two categories, and the one with the 3-acre lot is the residential medium intensity, which is great, and then the larger lot is the rural ag, so it fits with 2040, and I hope it stays that way. So I approve.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions for the gentleman? All right. Please vote.
The motion to approve with waivers carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening, sir. All right, we'll go to re-subdivision review. Item 6, case is 2023-3237, -MRP, re-subdivision of Lot 16A, Phase 1, and Lot 26A, Phase 2, into Lot 16A2, Phase 1 and 2, Covington Industrial Park. Owner and representative is Favre Investments LLC, Uncas Favre Jr. Surveyor is John G. Cummings and Associates. Parish Council District Representative David R. Fitzgerald. General location, the property is located on the southwest corner of Fabrication Row and Airport Road, Covington, Louisiana, Ward 3, District 2. Staff?
The owner is requesting to create one lot from Lot 16A, 26A. The public hearing is required, considering that, as stated in the restrictive covenants of the approved plat, no lot shall be further re-subdivided without approval from the Planning Commission.
Good evening, sir. And you are?
I am Ben Fabre. I'm
Okay.
part of Fabre Investments.
All right. You have anything you wish to tell the commission?
This is something that we've done 6 or 7 other times in the industrial park, taking 2 lots to build 1 building between the 2 lots.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone in the audience wish to speak in favor? Anyone wish to speak against? I'll close it to the public and bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Fitzmaurice.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Fitzmaurice to approve. Commissioner Crawford.
Second the motion.
Second by Commissioner Crawford. Any further discussion? Please vote.
The motion to approve carries.
Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all, appreciate it.
All right, we go to item 7. Case is 2023-3239-MRP, re-subdivision of lot 269, square 30, and .153 acres of reserved area, Chafuncta Club Estates, lot 269A, square 30, Chafuncta Club Estates. Owner and representative is Chafuncta Club Estates Subdivision, Brian Laborde and George T. Underhill. The surveyor is Acadia Land Surveying, LLC. Parish Council District Representative, Honorable Marty Dean. General location, the property is located on the south side of Mistletoe Drive, south of Wisteria Lane, Covington, Ward 1, District 1. Staff?
The owner is requesting to create one lot from lot 269 and a portion of the reserve area of Chafuncta Estates. The public hearing is required, considering that, as stated in the restrictive covenants of the approved plat, no lot shall be further re-subdivided without approval from the Planning Commission.
Good evening, sir, and you are?
Townsend Underhill, George T.
Okay.
Underhill. I'm the owner of lot 269. We're just proposing to buy a small portion of area that was kind of naturally part of the backyard of my house from the estates. They've agreed to sell it to me from the Chafuncta Club Estates, and so we're just here to where the request is to subdivide that piece into the existing lot. So not to create an additional lot, but subdivide it into the existing lot.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone in the audience wish to speak in favor of this item? Anyone wish to speak against? I'll close it to the public and bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Fitzmaurice.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Fitzmaurice to approve. Commissioner Crawford.
Second the motion.
Second by Commissioner Crawford. Commissioner McInnes.
I just want to ask the applicant, what is that area like? It looks like it's getting pretty wet back there.
Yeah, there's a cutoff of Lake Imfred that kind of runs back, a slough back behind there, and it's very low, but it gets water from time to time. We've lived there for like 2 years, and I would say there's been water that's come up maybe 3 or 4 times into that area, but it is relatively low, yes. You wouldn't build anything back there. It's well below the finished grade of the house, so it's really just an area for my kids to have a trampoline and play and leave it grassed and treed.
Okay. And I see there's quite a bit of reserved area, and this is not an area where the neighborhood could get to anyway, so
Yeah,
I think
no one else would
no
have
problem.
access to this property except
Right.
for this lot,
Okay.
which is how it's been used by the previous owner before me, so.
Very
Okay.
good. That's all.
Thank you. No further questions, please vote.
The motion to approve carries.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good evening, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, we go to tentative approval. Item 8, case is 2022-3079-TP, Moore Park Subdivision, developer owner, Moore 59 LLC, engineer J.P. Burks and Associates. Parish Council District Representative, Honorable Riker Toledano. General location, the property is located on the north side of Louisiana Highway 1088, west of Hickory Street, south of Interstate 12, Mandeville, Ward 4, District 5. This has been postponed a number of times, the last time being February the 14th for 1 month. Staff?
Yes, sir. The tentative plans and documentation have been reviewed by this office, and an inspection was made of the site on February 24th, 2023. Tentative approval shall be subject to the below informational items and comment number 1 being completed and addressed. Thank you.
Good evening again, Mr. Morone.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Paul Morone again, this time on behalf of Moore 59 LLC. This is the small neighborhood commercial project off of Highway 1088. We're proposing 10 lots. Typical lot size is about 1.5 acres or so, with a little crescent roadway connecting to 1088. We were delayed for a number of months because we were working through an issue with, there is an existing tower on the site. Through the Board of Adjustments, we were finally able to resolve that, and we are here tonight asking for your approval. There are the staff comments that we received on February 24th are minimal, basically a few plat changes and some minor modifications to update the traffic study, all of which we'll have done within the next week or so. And we will certainly have everything done well before we come back to you for preliminary, which will be some months away. But at this point, we believe that we're in a good position to move forward to preliminary. We ask for your approval to do so by granting our request this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Morone. Anyone in the audience wish to speak against on this? Anyone wish to speak in favor? I'll close it to the public and bring it back to the commission. Commissioner McInnes.
Paul?
Yes.
I see that, and I've commented before, there's quite a bit of wetlands along 1088, and the center part of this piece is in flood zone A. Any consideration of building on piers for these homes?
Well, these will be offices. It won't be residential. This is neighborhood commercial.
Oh.
Yeah. And I'm looking at Mr. Burks as far as the middle of the property. But no, so these will be neighborhood commercial sites. And we had not anticipated building on piers. Obviously, we realize that we'll have to meet any net fill requirements that the parish may have on the property. But there was no intent to build on piers.
So the area with the tower, that 5 acres or so, 4.5 acres, that's going to be left open, green
Yes.
space?
Correct. That is correct. That will essentially be the buffer for the tower.
And so what square footage can the buildings have?
Well, it will depend. Let's see, we are in C4, and Ms. Lambert can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think 10,000 square feet? 12,500, thank you, Mr. Burks, would be the max. But obviously, with that, we would still have to meet all the other requirements for parking, green space, or landscaping and so forth. So the max the code allows would be the 12.5, but whether we could get that on each of these lots would depend on, whether there's enough area to meet all of the requirements.
And this is a comment from my fellow commissioners, is that this project is actually partially in coastal conservation designation for the 2040 plan, the west quarter. And I have a map here if anybody wants to see it. It was kind of surprising to me because I thought coastal conservation was all down by the lake, but that's not true. And the reason is it's part of the Chinchuba Bayou floodplain, and apparently there's been a lot of drainage issues downstream, so the upper undeveloped floodplain has been developed or designated as coastal conservation. And I'm just gonna make my comments and let someone else comment, but I would feel that I would be concerned about this in having NC4 and coastal conservation. I would think that possibly if you remove Lot 10, that might go a long way to leaving more green space, the part that is in coastal conservation. I'm done.
May I respond?
Yes.
Just briefly, and certainly I understand, I'm not familiar with the coastal conservation designation on the 2040 plan, but, we're dealing here with, we've got a total of 21.6 acres. We've got 10 lots on that. We have about, almost 5 acres that we've set aside for a buffer for the tower. So it's a relatively low-density development as proposed. We know that we've got requirements that we'll have to demonstrate at preliminary with regards to drainage, and we obviously have a pond shown. That's not necessarily to scale. We'll have to flesh that out as part of preliminary to make sure that we meet those requirements and any requirements that may exist with regards to net fill and all that. So respectfully, I mean, this is a parcel that's right on Highway 1088. It's a major thoroughfare. It's not overly dense, and it complies with the NC4 designation, which has been in place for some time.
Okay. Does that answer your question, or? Okay.
I just want to, when you come back for preliminary, I assume we'll see that, right, Helen?
Yes.
Preliminary. Then if you will address the drainage as far as permeable parking where possible, as much green space as possible. In other words, I'm just letting you know in advance some things that I certainly would be looking for if this gets moved forward.
I'll make a note of that, and we'll try to be prepared for that when we come back for preliminary.
And try to make some, do some
Right.
progressive thinking.
Yes,
for,
no,
you
I
know,
understand. I understand
for
what you're
that, the green development document that was just approved and added to the 2040 plan.
Okay, understood.
So, all right, thanks.
Yes.
Anything else now?
No.
Okay. Commissioner Hernandez.
Thank you. Paul, do you know are you still proposing to have a fast food outlet as one of the uses in that, or not?
I am not aware. I mean, I guess that could be a possibility, but we don't have anything identified. I'm going to look to Mr. Burks to correct me if I'm wrong, but.
We just came up with a slew of different things to show high traffic.
Yes, so we don't have a particular use identified. That was identified as a permissible use, so we used it as part of the traffic study because of the high traffic generation, but we don't have any use identified at this time.
But not permissible under the existing zoning, is it?
Not with a drive-through, it wouldn't.
No.
But I guess it would have to be as part of it would not be a true fast food restaurant. You could have food service, I think, in NC4 as part of a strip center, if you will.
Just food service,
Just food service.
no drive-through.
Okay, all right. Well, and I guess looking at the traffic analysis when it was the cul-de-sac and not the two entrances as present, I'm curious, did that have any significant change? Obviously, I'm assuming the uses would generate the same, I assume, and it was just how you now segment between the two entrances now, as opposed to just having one entrance. And I'm guessing that and I would very much like to see that, but obviously tonight is not the time, and I guess we'll get to see it, I'm assuming, upcoming here.
Correct.
Yes, I'm just curious as to what that does. Just for informational purposes, I think some of you already know this. I live in the Forest Brook subdivision, which is close by.
Right, right.
433 homes that we have in there. And so obviously, anything that generates traffic, nearby is something that, that's of interest to us. So just to keep that in mind and going into the next step. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you.
Mr. Troncoso.
It's two questions. One, just to verify, the underlying zoning is NC4. Is that
Yes, sir,
correct?
that's correct.
Okay. And just an engineering question. Why do you have an 80-foot applied entrance on one end and only a 60-foot allocated entrance where the potential roundabout would be?
It's a good question.
That's 80 foot is a St. Tammany Parish requirement. 60 foot.
Sean, you're gonna have to come to the
Sure,
mic.
I'll let him answer that rather than
All right.
repeating what he just said.
Excuse me. I'm Sean Burks with J.D. Burks and Associates. The 80 foot is a St. Tammany Parish requirement for an entrance to a subdivision, so that's where it is right there.
Right.
The 60 foot is all we need for the leg of the roundabout, for the two different options. So that's all we need. But eventually that will be a roundabout right there, and that's where the leg will come through.
Would it make sense for, Sean, for it to be wider? Or it just, I don't know, just from the standpoint of the activity of traffic, why would it not be beneficial from a safety standpoint to have a wider throat?
Well, as far as when we did the layout for the roundabout, we actually took the roundabout that I guess the parish has designed and laid it out.
Is
on
it the
top.
same as what's on Sharp Road? Is it the same, basically the same?
It's whatever's on that map is what we have copies of that
Okay.
design. So what we did, and we actually rough designed the leg coming off of it.
Okay.
So that's what we have shown, and it fits within that 60.
So, and it meets the Louisiana standards?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner McInnes.
I'm sorry, no.
Commissioner Fitzmaurice.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Fitzmaurice to approve. Commissioner Ress.
Yeah, I second, but I wanted to also challenge Mr. Burks there in his ability to be a standout planner here, to take to mind what some of these permeable surfaces in that, especially in that flood zone A portion of the properties. You know, it's not the whole thing. A lot of that's in C, and I think because it is in the coastal conservation area, and it is part of the 2040 plan that we're supposed to be paying attention to that plan. And I think the whole commission, sometimes we don't always take the time to look at that plan that we adopted. Okay, we adopted as a commission, and I think Commissioner McGinnis continues to challenge us to follow that document that's supposed to be a pretty guiding principle for us in these things. So just ask you to look at that hard, see if there's things you can do. I realize you won't have the answer tonight. No, I'm not looking for that. When you come back, though, if there's things you can do to alleviate this or to make it better, let's go beyond. Let's make it right. Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Seeger.
I want to hitchhike a little bit on what Commissioner Ress was talking about. Keep in mind, if you'll make a note, Paul, that we are concerned about runoff into the stream system when the roads are being cut and constructed. And there are several ways to alleviate that problem, and I'm sure that you all know about them. But we would like to see that done. That's all.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. I don't see anyone else in the queue. Please vote.
The motion to approve carries.
All right, we'll go to item 9, Melody Cove subdivision. Case is 2023-3255-TP. Developer, owner, AEW Sales Development LLC. Engineer is Fairway Consulting and Engineering. Parish Council District Representative, Honorable Riker Toledano. General location, the property is located at the end of Melody Lane, north of Hellenberg Road, east of Louisiana Highway 190, north of Interstate 12, Covington, Ward 3, District 5. Staff?
Yes, sir. The tentative plans and documentation have been reviewed by this office, and an inspection was made of the site on February 24th, 2023. Tentative approval shall be subject to the below informational items and comments 1 through 6 being completed and addressed. Specifically, I'd like to bring your attention to items 1, 2, and 3. Pursuant to ordinance section 12556, the developer is requesting a waiver of the maximum cul-de-sac length of 700 feet. See attached letter.
What is it?
Item number 2, in accordance with St. Tammany Parish Ordinance Section 12588, all drainage rights-of-way and servitude shall not be located on an individual lot. The current lot configuration shows lots encumbering the private drainage servitudes. As such, the plan needs to be revised to conform with Section 12588, or a waiver of this section, ordinance section granted. Item number 3, in accordance with St. Tammany Parish Ordinance Section 12556, subdivisions are only with only one entrance shall provide the entrance is provided shall be required to provide a boulevard entrance meeting Section 12556 standards. The current subdivision configuration does not account for the minimum boulevard entrance standards. As such, the plan needs to be revised to conform to this section or a waiver of the ordinance section granted. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr. Chair. Jeff Shane of the Jones Fussell Law Firm, and I represent the owner developer, AEW Sales, and I have presented to you our responses to the staff comments that Mr. Reynolds just went through. So if first you could take a look at the 2-sheet handout that I gave you, and with regard to number 1, you'll see I've given you the distances from our turnaround to cul-de-sac being 650 feet and our distance of 895 from the turnaround to Hellenberg Road. Maybe if you'll take a look at the second page of that 2-page handout, you can see that we have depicted those distances. When this case came to you during zoning, you remember there was some discussion about the length of the road and we needed to develop some opportunity to have a break. And you'll see that we've now created this turnaround area, as you can see, approximately halfway through the right-of-way. So some of the right-of-way obviously coming off Hellenberg Road. We don't have lots on either side, then we get into green space. But we have consulted with staff, and I think they agree that this is probably the best we can do in order to provide, again, a turnaround which will provide some safety opportunities or turnaround opportunities if necessary before someone would have to go the full length. With regard to item 2, again, probably easiest to look at page 2. Initially, we had our 10-foot wide drainage servitude along and inside the rear of each perimeter lot. Your legislation does not allow that practice any longer, so we have removed that rear 10 feet. So the area you see in blue along the perimeter of the subdivision to the north, west, and east, that is now all part of a connection, if you will, to the green area, so that we do have the 10-foot drainage servitude area, but it is not a part of the lot. The third item brought up was in connection with the boulevard. This is a waiver item also, as is number 1. And if you'll take a look again at page 2 of our red line tentative plat, you'll see that the right-of-way or legal access to this property is through an existing parish right-of-way. You previously granted us permission to enter that public right-of-way, and of course that's going to be our access to this small development. We're going to do all of the things that code requires for the entranceway in terms of a boulevard feature, everything that your subdivision ordinance requires. The only problem is we don't have 80 feet to work within. We have to condense it and do it all within 60 feet. But again, the safeguards of having a boulevarded entranceway for subdivisions where they abut the public road will in fact be met, and we ask, of course, your consideration for a waiver as to this item. Item 4 is a request to change the name of the subdivision formally from Melody Cove subdivision to Balsam Manor subdivision. That is a name that will not create conflict, and staff has no objection to that request. The 5th area was to provide the net density and the net density calculation. We've given you that on page 1 of the 2-page handout. You'll see that kind of the bottom line to this is that we only are utilizing about 80% of the available density that our zoning classification allows, which means we have 35 lots. Technically, if you do the calculation, we could have as many as 42 lots, and we've provided what we think are the calculations that staff is looking for. The last item, item 6, is a sort of a general comment indicating, of course, that we need to account for all prior comments, which we have done. And in addition, since we drafted this red line response, we were able to get the will serve letter from Utilities Inc. That's the freestanding single page that I handed out to everyone, confirming that Utilities Inc. in fact has capacity and facilities to provide central sewer and water to this development. So with those comments, we would respectfully request your grant of tentative subdivision approval. We obviously would appreciate that request, including the waivers requested for item 1 and item 3. If any of you have any questions or comments, I'll be glad to address them at the appropriate time. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Shane. Anyone in the audience wish to speak in favor on this item? Anyone wish to speak against on any of this? I'll bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Ress.
I got a question for staff. Ted, on the on the roadway, I mean, I always thought that a big portion of the length of the cul-de-sacs was we were trying to avoid long straight runs where people would be driving too fast through a subdivision. I thought that was part of the reason we didn't allow long cul-de-sacs. Is that not correct? In previous meetings, I've heard that statement made, so.
I do believe it. That is part of that's why it's part of it. Yes, sir. It's
Okay,
for
so this,
that as well as to provide additional turnarounds and means through a subdivision.
well, the turnaround there doesn't alleviate that portion of the concern at all. As a matter of fact, I would argue that the turnaround is we got people now backing out into that straightaway.
Mm-hmm.
Is that not correct? I mean, if they're going to turn
It would be
around.
the same thing as if you would on any residential lot that would have a driveway
I
also
understand that,
attached
I
to that. So
understand.
yes, there will be
But yeah,
backing from that.
we've created a turnaround that's designed just for that too. And okay, all right, that's all.
May I interject a thought, Mr. Ress?
No, this is just for staff. Thank you. I'm good. I'm done.
Well, I'm just trying to solve the problem for you.
I have a question for you.
Okay,
May
Commissioner
I-
Fitzmaurice.
May I just say that I think you bring up a good point. We'd like to put a stop sign before the turnaround, because I think that would specifically address the good point that you bring, and it also protects the turnaround situation even better. So
That was going to be my question.
thank you for your comment.
That was going to be my question to you, Jeff, was that, is there any I know we're kind of early in the but any consideration for traffic controls to reduce high rates of speed? So a stop sign, speed bump, something along those lines.
I don't think we can put speed bumps on your public roads, but we certainly can put stop signs, and I think that would be more effective. And
Well,
we'll
stop
sign
the
both-
kids from popping wheelies. That's no
Sure.
good for them.
Turn around both sides.
No, but a stop sign works, does the same
No,
thing.
but we'll add a stop sign both directions.
I would,
so that will be a
you guys mind if
controlled
I
turnaround.
intervene just 1 second before we get too far on commitments? The MUTCD actually strictly prohibits the installation of stop signs as a speed control method, because when they are not warranted, which this would not be warranted for a turnaround, they become disregarded and often run. So they are actually not a speed controlling device. However, there are many different types of speed controlling devices we could look at the preliminary approval, speed tables, calming measures. There's a bunch of things in the MUTCD as well as the road design guide to facilitate these types of things. But I would just caution, because when it comes to my staff, we're going to remove that stop sign because it's not in conformance with the MUTCD.
Okay, so
I
you'll
just
remove
wanted
that,
to-
but you'll add something else.
I would recommend that, we look at the speed control method at the preliminary when these designs will happen, to conform to one of those things that are not necessarily a stop sign. It's just my caution to the commission.
Okay?
Well, it seems like we're applying for a waiver here, though. And so,
Yes, sir. So the waiver is regardless of if we put a speed controlling method in there or not. The ordinance is pretty black and white. If you exceed 700 feet, there's a stipulation for a waiver, which is spoken to in the ordinance. You guys have that right to do it, because not every piece of property is designed to where you can have cross streets and cross connectivities and things of that nature. We have long, skinny tracts of land, as you see in this development right here. So regardless of if we do and require a speed calming measure in the preliminary approval, a waiver of the 700-foot is still required by ordinance, because the ordinance doesn't speak to or speed calming measures. It just speaks to a waiver for properties that, quite honestly, would need them or qualify for them. So we can look into additional requirements at the preliminary approval for the design phase of it, but it does not forfeit or forego the need of a waiver.
I might be out of place here, because I want to...
You are. You out of place. No, I'm kidding.
Go ahead.
I'll yield to you I'll give you a couple minutes of my time.
Well, the only question being is, if I'm going to approve a waiver for what we're doing here, I want to know what that is when I approve the waiver, not after. That's just me, okay? So.
You can answer, Jeff.
We will stipulate that we will work with staff, and when we come back to you for preliminary, that if you grant this waiver, we're going to have to agree to some form of speed control mitigation, so that you won't just grant the waiver and wonder or be faced with the situation of, well, the developer isn't going to do anything. That's not the intent. As I say, I think he brought up a good point. We hadn't thought about it. Obviously, the stop sign's not the answer. We thought it was.
Well, that's why we're not the engineers for this.
No, but we understand. So
Right.
we will stipulate, make it a condition, if you approve this evening, that we'll work with staff to come up with an appropriate measure that you will see at preliminary when we come back to you.
Yeah, we can always deny that preliminary if it's not satisfactory. I'll make a motion to approve with the waivers.
Okay, Commissioner McInnes.
Might as well stay up there.
Why am I not surprised?
Are you insinuating anything there, Mr.?
No, ma'am, not at all.
Okay.
I'm just.
I was going to give you a compliment.
That's all, Ms. McInnes.
Pardon?
A little levity, that's all. I didn't mean it. Forgive me.
Actually, I'm going to give you a small compliment before I have harder questions. One is, I like that you're leaving trees in the green space, the green buffer. I think that is important and valuable, and I like seeing that. What is the 10-foot drainage right-of-way in the back of the lots? Is that a ditch, or what is that going to be?
Yes, it'll be an open swale to facilitate taking the water.
Off the lot?
Yes,
Okay.
to the central detention area.
I'm a little concerned about the 10-foot, the primary drainage that goes diagonally through the subdivision being only 10-foot wide. I believe it drains a pretty significant area from the north, and lots that are close to it, like Lot 28 and Lot 29. Particularly Lot 28, I
believe that's a total of 20 feet, Ms. McInnes.
Is it?
Yes, ma'am.
On each side, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
That's better.
You're right. There's
okay.
an existing feature that takes water now, and we understand and respect that. Obviously, we need to make sure that it does the job. And as you know, when we come back for preliminary, we will have submitted a full drainage and hydrology, which will be examined to make sure that the framework that we're suggesting now at tentative is adequate to take that water out.
And my other comment is that this is in that Pachatuala Creek watershed that is very challenged already with flooding issues. And it does seem to be, I know that the zoning allows this density, but I'm not sure the watershed is going to benefit from the density of these lots. So,
Well, if I may.
sure.
Yeah, my comment to that would be, we're in flood zone C, 2B flood zone X. We have no jurisdictional wetlands. We won't be seeking, we don't need a wetlands permit. And we believe that because we will be using detention on site, as you know, we're going to significantly reduce the rate of runoff post-development when compared to its current natural state. So I would suggest to you that this could actually have a benefit to the watershed in that it will decrease the water leaving the site at any one time as opposed to what is now leaving it.
Well, some of what you said is accurate, that it will reduce the rate of runoff.
That's what I said.
But as far as the total runoff, it will not improve that.
That's correct.
There'll be a lot of impervious surfaces to shuttle that water immediately off. And even though land is in flood zone C, it's absorbing water. It's got trees that are pumping the water out. There's a huge benefit of property, of land that's not in wetlands that benefits the wetlands. It's the buffer, it's the upper watershed to the wetlands. But, so I'm just gonna tell you that that's gonna be my reason for not supporting this project, is the density in a very critical watershed.
The density of the lots?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Even, I know you have the right to. You have the zoning to do it. I just.
And you know, I'm using 80% of what I have the right to do.
It still seems pretty dense.
No, I understand.
So-
I respect your comments. Yes, ma'am.
Did you have a comment? Okay. Commissioner Smith?
Yes, Mr. Shane, so as far as the density goes, they are 60-foot wide lots, right? And how deep are they going to be without the extra, so they're going to be shorter?
Well, they're going to be the same length as was depicted on this plat, but now there will be no, on the south side, the lots, and I'll give them to you by number, lots 1 through 13 will still be 110 feet deep, but will no longer have a 10-foot servitude of encumbering them because we were able to move it to the south.
Okay.
Now, I think it's fair to say, and forgive my old eyes, but I tried to look at this the other day. I think the depth on the lots are about 125 to 128 feet.
But that's going to change with the servitude.
That's correct.
So it's going
Yes,
to be
sir.
115 feet rather than 125.
115 to 118. But it's, I mean, all of them should be, again, a minimum of 111 feet deep approximately. Of course, the lots, as you can see, to the west at the end of the cul-de-sac are.
I am glad they're 60-foot wide and not 50-foot wide. But as far as the cul-de-sac issue and the turnaround goes, so the backup or the area where you can turn around, the turnaround area is, there's a drainage ditch right next to it? Is that correct? So there's a drainage.
Well, there's one near, but not
So there's
right
a
next to it.
20 feet wide drainage ditch that goes right through there? Is
Yes,
that
sir,
correct?
to the northeast of it, but I mean, there's some separation. I'm gonna guess there's a 8 to 10-foot separation from
But
the.
I guess my point is it's an open ditch, right? And there's no way you could build an actual roundabout or an actual turnaround over that ditch to where that somebody wouldn't have to back up. They could literally pull in and go around a loop.
I don't think I could say that it couldn't be done, but I don't believe that it's warranted, and I'm sure the economics of doing it would be
Just trying to think
difficult.
of what would actually require a stop sign. I mean, what could we put there that would almost require a stop sign? But a roundabout there would keep people from having to back up into that.
When you say a roundabout,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
don't
like-
really
well, I
mean a
mean, like a
roundabout.
half or
Are you
half-
referring to a cul-de-sac of some sort?
Yeah, I guess so, a cul-de-sac, yes, sir.
Well, I think you would still have, though, the same issue from a code perspective as it
Yeah.
relates to the run. I think that when we look at the speed control measures with staff before we come back to you at preliminary, I will tell you that we'll take a look and see what options might be available.
And then the entrance is, you're asking for a waiver on the entrance because it's 20 feet short of what code
sir.
requires?
Yes, sir, but we will be able to essentially make it a code compliant or code functional entranceway, other than the fact that we will not have the 80 feet of width.
Basically, a boulevard has a little neutral ground, isn't it? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So that's what this will have, is more or less 4 lanes?
No, not 4.
No. 2 lanes with a neutral ground in the middle?
John Cadalnado with Fairway Consulting Engineering. It'll be one 12-foot wide ingress and 2 14-foot wide egresses. So we'll be able to accommodate that within
2
the
14-foot wide, 1 12-foot wide, okay.
1 in and 2 out.
Well, that's
I'll
good.
take that back. It's one 14-foot wide ingress and 2 12-foot wide egresses. I have the opposite.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for that clarification. I'd like to see if anybody else has anything to say. Nobody in the queue, though. Mr. Chairman?
We have a motion with the waivers.
We have one motion with the waivers
Right,
to approve.
But I
yeah.
don't think we got a second, did we? No second yet.
No, just a motion by Fitzmaurice.
I guess just to bring it to the floor, I will make a motion to second.
Okay, with the waiver.
With the waivers, yes, sir.
Okay. So we have a second by Commissioner Smale with the waivers. All right, is there any further discussion? I had a discussion with legal, since there was 3 items that basically require, in my mind, a separate vote for the waivers, so there was no confusion. Legal and I agree that we should take separate votes on these waivers. Okay?
Well,
All right?
we did have that conversation before the meeting began, but having listened to the discussion and looked at the revised plat, I'm not sure that we can move forward with this tentative plat without both of those waivers in place. So I think in this instance, unless staff disagrees, I think that the waivers are required to move forward with this plat as drafted.
Okay. I don't have a problem with that either.
The only point of contingency I might bring up is item number 2 spoke to the drainage servitudes being on the individual lots. Per the attachment that was handed out just now, it appears they are removing those drainage servitudes out of the lots, which is why the item number 2 is drafted as a waiver needs to be granted or the subdivision plat reconfigured to address that comment. If this is the actual reconfigured, and obviously we don't accept any plans until after this meeting, I don't know that there would be a waiver required for item number 2 anymore.
Correct.
If that plat was addressed as they show in their exhibit.
So a motion to approve with the amended plat as shown, which would not require a waiver for item number 2.
Correct.
For the drainage on the lots.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we only have one item that requires a waiver.
2.
Two.
Item number 1 and number
cul-de-sac and
3.
the boulevard.
Item number 1 and number 3, sir.
All right. Do we need to
Do you want to revise your
designate
motion?
the items?
Right. Well, I'll revise my motion.
Pardon?
I'm going to revise my motion.
Okay.
So a motion to approve as amended on the plat with the 2 waivers, with 1 waiver being removed as the plat was amended.
Okay.
Do you second? But I had another comment too. I just want to remind the commissioners, if this got denied tonight, we never have the opportunity to see it at preliminary. When the opportunity comes up for the developer to put and implement the items that we're concerned about, you know, the drainage and the certain things. So just want to make that point.
Approve or disapprove?
Correct. Preliminary is when you're actually going to see the design and the design work that they've done. And if something doesn't meet our standards or we don't agree with it, then that's an opportunity, based on the true facts of the engineering, to turn it down.
Thank you for that clarification, Mr. Fitzmaurice.
Okay. We have a motion and a second with waivers. Please vote.
The motion to approve as amended, the amended plat with the two waivers carries.
John, you better do a good job. Took care of you.
All right, I think that's got everything except old business. So we'll go to old business. Is that correct, Helen?
That's correct.
All right, old business, item 14. Cases 2023-3224-FP, Money Hill Subdivision, Phase 8A-1, Developer Owners Money Hill Plantation, LLC, Engineers J.V. Burks and Associates, Parish Council District Representative, Honorable Cheryl Tanner. General location, the property is located north of Country Club Drive, west of Money Hill Parkway, north of Louisiana Highway 435 of Beta Springs, Ward 6, District 6. Establish a warranty obligation for a period of 2 years. Final approval granted at February 14th meeting. Staff, do you have any further comments?
Yes, sir. So just read in the letter to the, for the record. The above captioned subdivision received final approval at the February 14th, 2023 Planning Commission. A warranty obligation in the amount of 762 linear feet at $20 per linear foot for a total of $15,240 needs to be established for this phase of Money Hill subdivision. This obligation will be established for a period of 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Shane.
Jeff Shane of the Jones Fussell Law Firm representing Money Hill Plantation LLC. Despite the fact that we got final at your last month's meeting, for reasons I'm not sure of, but we failed to establish the warranty obligation. That's as much on us as anybody. We understand the code requires that, and obviously this is a calculated amount. So we would appreciate you passing this measure under old business so that the approval of this phase will in fact be coupled with the 2-year warranty obligation.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shane. Staff? Anyone in the audience wish to speak on this item? I'll close it to the public and bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Fitzmaurice.
Motion to institute the warranty obligation.
Okay. Commissioner Crawford.
Second the motion.
Second by Commissioner Crawford. Any further discussion? Please vote.
The motion to approve with the warranty obligation carries.
Thank you. All right, we go to item 15, 2022-3140 MRP, re-subdivision of lots 1 through 250 of North Shore Mobile Home Community into Parcel 1, Jubilee RV and Camping Park. The owner is North Shore Mobile Home Park Incorporated, Gary W. Fordham as president. The representative is Jeffrey Shane, surveyor J.V. Burks and Associates, Parish Council District Representative Honorable Jake Airy. General location, the property is located on the southwest side of U.S. Highway 190, south of Indian Village Road, Slidell, Ward 8, District 13. This was originally approved at the December 13th meeting. Staff?
As you just stated, in December, the applicant came in front of the Planning Commission and requested to create 4 parcels from the 250 lots that were previously created in the North Shore Mobile Home Park community. And now coming back and submitting an amended survey and requesting to only create 1 parcel from lots 1 to 250, which was previously approved. So this is just a change from going from 4 parcels, which you approved in December, going to 1 parcel, and it will be subject to items 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Okay. Mr. Shane.
Jeff Shane of the Jones Fussell Law Firm, and I represent Jubilee RV. And it's really as simple as Ms. Lambert's just explained. Since we thought we needed to create 4 legal lots as we got deeper into the plan, we recognized that we really don't need but one lot, which means the entire tract will be one legal lot of record. So we've now transformed what has been heretofore an approved mobile home park with 250 legal lots of record to a nice NC6 for this proposed RV park that will be on one legal lot of record. So we respectfully request that you approve, I guess, this amended request.
Okay, thank you. Anyone in the audience wish to speak for or against on this? I'm going to close it to the public and bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Crawford.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Crawford to approve. Commissioner Fitzmaurice.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Fitzmaurice. Any further discussion? Please vote.
The motion to approve carries.
Thank you. Do we have any new business? Do I hear an adjournment? Motion to adjourn. Thank you.
Mr. Crawford.